Hi, folks. Our session will begin in 2 minutes. So feel free to go to joinpd.com and enter the code to join the interactive Pear Deck. I also dropped the link in the chat. So hang tight for just another 2 minutes. Hi, Kim. Welcome to the chat. I just dropped the link to the Pear Deck. If it's easier to access it that way, you can also go to joinpd.com. And if you're using multiple devices, you can use Pear Deck on your phone as well as on a Chromebook or laptop or a tablet as well. All right, folks, welcome to tonight's session. My name is Steph Suko, and I'm from Central United States. So I'm from the Chicagoland area. So for me, it's 8 p.m. I know it's all different time zones and times for people across the globe, which is so exciting. So I really appreciate you being here tonight. Again, feel free to go to the code joinpd.com and enter the code IUDBSZ, and you can make this session interactive. So Pear Deck is one of my favorite ed tech tools. It has been something that pre-COVID I loved using, but especially during those remote times, it makes learning interactive. And even though it's the same tool, it can feel like such a different experience based on how you design your lesson with it. And it takes any direct instruct lesson and makes it really engaging and interactive. So I love Pear Deck, and I definitely recommend checking it out if you have not used it before. So let's get started, and welcome to Glow 2024. Again, it's so exciting to be networking and connecting with people from across the globe. And tonight I want to talk about leveraging student and educator narratives for transformative learning. It's, whether we are adults in a professional learning community or we're working with students of all different ages, being able to share our stories and to connect and engage through storytelling is a powerful educational tool, and it's definitely one that I'm very, very passionate about in so many ways. So let's dive in. Now, tonight we are going to reflect on characteristics of adult learners. I think it's really important as we educate and we pass on professional learning to our colleagues, to staff that we work with, and to learners, of all ages. Understanding our audience is a key part of storytelling, and it is a key part of engaging. We're also going to explore the benefits of collaboration among educators and how it can enhance the professional learning experience. We're going to talk fostering face-to-face collaboration through discussions, which works wonderfully with adults and our students as well. And we're going to discuss how we can give choice and voice back to our educators and back to our students. So as we go here, if you want to make this lesson interactive, you can use the code to access the Pear Deck. You can also download the slides. So I definitely will be dropping that link as well. And so actually, I'm going to drop the slides link. But while we are engaging right here, I highly recommend hopping into the Pear Deck. All right. Another thing that I think is wonderful is is taking a minute to share who you are and what you teach, and being able to network not only right now but beyond is so powerful. And I'm going to switch over to the Pear Deck view. So let me switch my screen here. All right, so something that I love about Pear Deck and viewing it from the student view is you can do what's called app smashing. You can take, Pear Deck allows you to enter a URL. So this works great with any of the Google Suites products, or it works well with a Padlet. And you can have students see your content on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you can create an interactive experience. You can also embed specific websites. So if you're doing any sort of research, you've got that as well. So as we fill this out, we will be able to see our roster of our colleagues here. Moving forward, when we think about institute days or we think about professional learning, so often, we're just like our students and we're asking, why do we have to learn this? Or, I'm done with just another high energy icebreaker. I actually want to dig into something that's going to be useful in my classroom. So one way to do that is to amplify and to celebrate the stories of our colleagues and the stories of what's actually happening in our classrooms and in our learning spaces and environments. So one thing that I always love to ask, and this is why I love Pear Deck, is it gives everybody an opportunity to have a voice. And, going around a room of 100 people can be really, really tricky, but being able to capture everybody's voice and idea in a really fast snapshot through Pear Deck is really powerful. So one question I like to ask myself, even on a regular Wednesday in the middle of the semester, is would I want to be a student in my own classroom? And when we put ourselves in the shoes of our students, we put ourselves in the rooms of the people that we're educating, whether it's adults or students. And when we can answer that question and say yes, and when we think about how we design our instructional materials so that it positively impacts them, it yields really powerful results. And so this is, again, a great reflective question. And I'm going to go back to the teacher view here of the Pear Deck, and just let people answer. When it comes to showing responses, if you click the show responses, this is where your responses would appear. And it's so nice when you show responses on Pear Deck, it shows anonymously unless you're in the teacher dashboard, which you can open in a new tab or another device. But showing that anonymously empowers our students to feel more comfortable sharing their voices, to connecting and sharing out those responses. Now, I love this, and I'm going to go back to the student view here to show you how this is so fun and interactive. Okay, on the student view, I love being, asking students to fill out a checklist just to see where they're at. This is a great a formative assessment where we can gauge their learning or their experience. So here I'm going to put pencil on. And just a question for all of you is, on an institute day, what is your most important goal? So is it to enhance your teacher practice? Is it to boost morale or reflect on data, foster collaboration? And you can check as many of these as you'd like. And then if I go back to teacher view, I can show the responses here, and you can see those responses. I see someone else is filling this out. This is neat. Okay, so as we're filling this out together, one great thing about Pear Deck is I can look at the individual views. I can also stack it. So if we had 20 people filling this out, we could see, notice where most of the, responses are going. And it looks like on Institute days, we're seeking collaboration. And that time is so precious working with our colleagues. And when we put all of our minds together, it can be really, really powerful. So that's awesome. I'm just going in and checking the chat too. Okay, just to make sure I don't want to miss any of your comments as well. So moving forward, another thing that I love sharing out is How do you start planning for an institute day? Or how do you start planning for professional learning? What goals do you set? Thinking about your role as a ed tech leader or as an educator or an instructional coach, thinking about those goals can be really, really powerful. And just like we do with our classroom, thinking with the assessment or the end in mind, that backwards planning can really allow us to really stretch our thinking and to stretch the opportunities for learning that we are setting. Now, there is a step-by-step process that I want to follow when it comes to planning transformative learning opportunities, especially for adult learners, is to think about the characteristics of adult learners themselves. So, skipping ahead here. One great video that I love is this is a video with Malcolm Knowles' adult learner theory. And it reminds us that learning should be experiential, self directed, relevant, sensory based, and goal oriented. Again, I go back to the idea that teachers sometimes make the worst students, and if we're not moving and we're not being tactile and actually active in doing the learning and the exploring, then we tune out just as quickly as our students. So let's go back to the student view here. And like I said, Pear Deck, that app smashing piece. And here on the right hand side, I've got an article that we can explore together. I've also linked a video that is really, really great on teachers create what we experience. I highly recommend watching that. For the sake of time, I'm not going to play this video, but I am going to scroll through this article about adult learner theory. And again, it tells us just the same things that we think about with our students is what are our principles? What are we seeking when it comes to learning? And these best practices for adults are also the best practices for students. And again, that sensory piece, when we think about educational technology, one of the reasons why Pear Deck is my tried and true, one of my favorite ed tech tools is because it hits all of these boxes here in terms of making it relevant, making it sensory based, really engaging others and asking them to use their voice in many ways. So as we move forward to our next slide here, what about the information everyone needs to hear? Sometimes direct instruction is the way to go, or we're asynchronous. And again, what's so exciting is we're presenting and connecting with people from all over the globe. And so sometimes it is that sit and get experience, but we want to use technology to move that needle, that engagement forward. And so making the information interactive and creating opportunities for movement and dialogue and conversation is so important. Whether it is synchronous when it comes to that digital learning or it's asynchronous, remember we can really leverage our educational technology tools to keep a conversation going and extend that thinking in a lot of ways. All right, when it comes to all staff information, we want to remember that we're not just talking at our people, whether it is our students or our adult learners. We want to be asking for input and gathering perspectives. We want to create opportunities to set goals and collaborate together, and we want those experiences to be authentic. So when we talk at people and we don't include them in that conversation, we don't get that dialogue, they tune out. And so we want to make sure that if we've got important information to disseminate, we don't want it to be repetitive and something that can just be read in a couple of bullet points. We want to make sure we're telling the stories. We're elaborating on and providing opportunities to ask questions or to seek better understanding. We also want to make sure that our stories are timely, relevant information for what we need to know now. When it comes to our learning, I'm going to go back to the teacher view here. As I'm back at the teacher view here, okay. We want it to be people at the heart. Learner-centered approach to learning is so, so powerful. and it helps us to engage and connect with those stories. When I see myself in what it is that I'm learning, when I understand how it relates to my narrative and my story, it becomes more impactful. Again, it's not about sitting in these straight rows, but really creating that circle of connection between all people. And that can happen and occur in a variety of ways. Um, and digital educational technology is a big part of that. So, here, I've got a parking lot for all of you. I love a good parking lot, especially if you are doing direct instruction. Seeking out strategies to create space for teachers or for learners to post questions and comments while you're talking is another great way to keep that dialogue going. Padlet has really revolutionized their educational technology tools. Earlier today, I was actually playing with their AI features, and it's just so exciting what Padlet can do and how it's evolved to help us to amplify and celebrate the stories of others. If I switch back here to my my student view, you can see that this idea of sharing our thoughts, adding questions, organizing ideas. It's so easy to use Padlet. By hitting that plus button, you can quickly type a subject. So if I had an example to share, I can write out information. I can upload so many digital tools, and that's another really exciting thing about Padlet is that it is so easy to create images, use AI to create videos, to add pictures, to upload Google Docs. And so again, as we're looking to amplify stories and to tell stories in a variety of platforms, that are digital, this is a really comprehensive educational tool that's super easy to use, super easy to set up. And again, it captures the stories of others. So now that we've kind of thought about what our learners look like, especially our adult learners, it's important to explore the benefits of collaboration among educators and how we can use it to enhance our professional learning experiences. So going back here, what are the benefits of collaboration? Well, collaboration is the heart of everything we do. When we look on the top 10 skills that professionals are looking for or employers are looking for in any field, collaboration is always one or two. Collaboration leads to professional growth. It leads to us sharing our best practices and development of innovative teaching practices. Collaboration also promotes a sense of community, and it really improves our student outcomes and the culture and climates of our classrooms, our schools, our learning communities. So the benefits of collaboration are so exponential and important pieces of telling our stories. So how do we promote collaboration? One thing I have linked here is I did a book study on the Recipes for Resilience, which is a really, really powerful book that is it's all about storytelling, and it's all about telling a educator's experience and how he was able to bring resilience into his own teaching practice. As teachers, we always need more time, and time takes, when we want time to collaborate, we've got to take something off our to-do list. And so generating a list of time-saving ideas, providing more access to instructional coaching and backwards planning, and thinking about professional learning and how we can create more time for our teachers to collaborate is key. The book study I did used our LMS platform to create an asynchronous experience. So teachers were collaborating from 4 different buildings. They were sharing ideas, and they were empowered to explore a theme like resilience, which promotes our collaborative experience, which promotes our storytelling, and also just gave opportunities for people to be flexible with that time. Now, there are so many different levels to collaboration that start with just hitting share. And that's one reason why I love Google. So again, we've talked about Pear Deck, Padlet, and Google. Those are my go-to tools hitting that share button is really empowering and powerful. And it's just a fast way to, if you can't see someone face to face or you can't connect at the same time, you have resources that you can share. Moving from sharing to cooperation, to being able to work on a team, being able to come up with ideas together, to accept other people's ideas, moves to coordination, which is that authentic in real time collaborating, and then integrating each other's ideas. Collaboration starts with sharing, and collaboration needs to be repeated, and creating a plan to do that can be really, really key. So as I move forward here, and I'm going to link this year-long PD for you. I'm going to relink that. But really starting with looking at your school calendar and goals and people, those can be really powerful. Now, as we move forward here, like I said, it starts with sharing. And Pear Deck is one of my favorite ways to gather information and to share out all different ideas and to encourage others to use their voice for good. There are some other great tech tools that are really similar to Pear Deck that can do a lot of good and collaborate among colleagues, and that's Mentimeter, Kahoot, GameKit, other formative games and tools. I also have a link here to some of my other favorite tech tools, and I'm going to hit the share button here. And let's see. It's coming. Okay. Sorry, my computer moved a little slow right there. But this is a really great resource of different tech tools that promote collaboration and communication. And I have that linked for you right there. As I move back now to our current Pear Deck, some of the benefits of using a tool like Pear Deck is it's fast and easy to use. It integrates already with your already built slides and allows you to collect information. So I would love for you guys now, and this is a drawing slide, how else might you promote sharing during an all-staff meeting or during an adult learning session? It's a really great reflective question to be asking. But what's nice about using Pear Deck, using the draw slide, is not only can people hit the T button for type, but they can also illustrate their ideas. Sometimes it's difficult to put into words what we're experiencing or feeling, but when we can draw something abstract, it allows us to express ourselves in a different way. Also, we know all different types of learners have different strengths and interests, and some people would just prefer to draw than rather use their words. The next phase of that collaboration skill is cooperative learning. Resources like Google Workspace are so incredible because they allow us to collaborate and create teams and to work together in a digital platform. Using that shared folders and resources in Google Workspace can be really powerful. Having roundtable discussions or peer observations and feedbacks are another way to create cooperative learning. Pre-COVID, the pineapple chart of when to observe teachers and to go into each other's classroom was something that was really popular as well. But if that's not available, again, there's digital ways to do that too. Some of that, like a pineapple chart, takes coordination. And coordination, it takes careful planning and support by our administrative team. Warning, coordination does not involve one and done professional development or professional learning. It's a cycle that continues. Teachers in the same prep periods having the same opportunities to work together are key, but also interdisciplinary work. Again, our minds are also creative, and as we work collectively to create powerful learning experiences for students, it doesn't just have to happen in a silo or in one department. Collaboration can happen anywhere. Moving forward, the integrated collaboration, this is the highest level. This is what we're striving for, and this is where storytelling becomes really powerful. Because we are creating a collective narrative and story for our students as they journey through their classes throughout the day or from teacher to teacher, year to year. Small groups and teamwork involve working towards a greater goal and working towards being a part of a school culture. Time is built into the school schedule for regular collaboration that doesn't always happen in some of our schools. And sometimes that timing needs to be a little creative, which is why educational technology is so powerful and helpful. As we go back to that parking lot, again, creating a very visible space where you can be sharing and connecting can be really, really helpful. And that's why I love the parking lot for those ideas. Something that I love to have in my classroom, and something that I do is something I wish my teacher knew. And I've got a little jar that my students can leave notes for, just kind of like a comment box. But it gives people a safe space to share their voices, and we can do this with adults as well. Encourage continual feedback. We all grow when we can reflect and work together. And Post-it notes are another really great thing. I am huge on a handwritten note, and that's something that just brings me joy to be able to do. But when we're able to write notes and we're able to share how we're inspired by people or how we are moved by their story in some way, it can be really encouraging and powerful. Now, I love a good Post-it note template. And I was really big for a while on, and I've got this template. I'm going to pull it up for you. If you have a printer and if you like a good old school Post-it note, this template is definitely one you can download. And I use it for my students too, especially because they all have their own individual devices. And so the Post-it note, you can, if you print this out and you put your Post-its on it and then feed it through your printer, you can create those digital resources for your students. So here I've got like a checklist. You can put little encouraging notes on it. There's all sorts of things that you can do with this template. But it helps people to leave those handwritten notes, those personalized feedback for people when you're able to be in the same space. So kind of a low tech way to encourage that communication and that feedback. I'm going to move back to our slides here. And there are other types of professional learning. Like I said, book clubs, asynchronous professional development, or the pop-up PD. Sometimes those little small informal moments can be really powerful. Creating ed camps where people share out their learning is essential as well. So I have so many books that I love, and here are some of my favorite professional learning books that you can take a look at if you're looking for understanding how to innovate, understanding how to use technology to move the needle forward and help people to share their stories, whether you're in person or you are asynchronous. Another thing to think about is using your learning management system to create pathways for your school, whether that's pathways for learning for teachers or pathways for students. They can be on a journey and receive feedback when you intentionally build out educational pathways for them. So what does this look like? Well, I really love the Modern Classroom project where they talk about must-dos, should-dos, and aspire-to-dos, kind of that stoplight method. When we think about our students, we want to take them on this learning journey. There's absolutely some like non-negotiables. You've got to complete this type of activity to show that you've learned or demonstrated mastery. But there are different ways that we can all journey through to master our experiences. Creating modules or pathways for students can help us to design powerful and personalized experience for our students. We can also embed formative assessments into things. When you can be asynchronous and get everyone involved, it can be really fun too. So one of my favorite things to use with staff, but also my own personal children, is the Goose Chase app. If you haven't tried out this app, it is so neat. So there's a free version and a premium version. The free version allows you to create 3 teams, and you can create these asynchronous fun challenges for kids to do. And I have this linked in the Pear Deck and on the slides, but I've got a step-by-step instruction that you can change the information and you can develop your own Pear Deck. Another great thing, students love choice boards, and so do teachers. And so if you're looking to encourage professional learning, you can I created a March Madness PD where teachers could practice, and it was basically a bingo chart, and it spelled out March, and they could choose their own adventure and choose the experiences that they did. And then I gave out fun prizes for that as well. Another great way, these are now just my rapid fire favorite professional learning tools, is you can create a weekly newsletter or slideshow to share out more great ideas. The more you can celebrate and communicate, the more powerful the learning experience becomes. So let's stop and reflect here. Have you ever been part of a group that had excellent collaboration? I think it's important to think back to what made that collaboration really work. How can you replicate those experiences, and what can we do to create collaborative teams? I remember in college we created T-shirts, and we branded our team. And as we were creating those presentations, that branding really bonded us. And again, branding yourself or branding an idea is all about that storytelling narrative piece. When we can think back and reflect on the stories and experiences we have to share, we have so much that we can offer people, and it's a great way to hook them into that collective experience as well. All right, now step number 3 here, we're going to foster face-to-face collaboration, and this happens through asking powerful questions. One of the best ways to encourage people to tell their story is to be curious about what their story is all about. And that curiosity and that questioning can open people up. So I love the Ralph Waldo Emerson quote that says, "Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm." One of my favorite videos, I'm going to press play here. Let's see if it plays. All right, I'm going to.
All right. Ready? Yeah. Right now.
Okay, I will pause that here and go back to our slides. But oh my goodness, the energy, the enthusiasm. It must have taken them hours to practice, but they were so excited to coordinate and to achieve that, that slam dunk there. That's what we want from our people, whether it is working with adult learners or students. We want them to be all in. And how do we get them to dive all in and make that infectious excitement to achieve a task? Well, it comes from telling the story and enjoying the process along the way. So what helps people feel like they belong? How do we promote that sense of belonging even before the bell rings? And it comes from creating an infectious environment in which people feel connected. When people feel like they belong, their inhibitions are down. They're more likely to share, and they're more likely to continue to engage in that school community. So speaking of community, how do we develop classrooms that feel like communities? We got to think about the obstacles that prevent some students from feeling like they belong. We also need to create traditions, and creating these traditions to perpetuate the excitement and the joy can be really powerful. And what activities and strategies bring students together? Something that I like to do in my classroom with students is I do a theme day. So I've got Minute to Win It Monday, Turn and Talk Tuesday, Write About It Wednesday, Thoughtful Thursday, and Free Draw Friday. And students know that we have these habits and these traditions that we apply, whether it is to our content or it is to, just something fun that takes a minute that gets us hooked in the class. So as we're creating those traditions and we're encouraging people to cannonball and jump in, remember every splash makes an impact. And it's so important for us to set goals and to climb that ladder with purpose and encourage people to share their stories with purpose so that they can cannonball in as well. another really powerful video that I just love. And I'm going to share my
finals. Here are the lane assignments. Steve Lewis in lane 3. Top 4 to Wednesday's final. Steve Lewis in lane 3. Roberto Hernandez out quickly in 4. Now down the backstretch.
Ismael on the left of the screen is running very, very quickly. And inside of Lewis, Sunday Bada of Nigeria.
And Derek Redmond of Great Britain has pulled up with an injury. Redmond is out.
All right, so
Redmond,
this
British
poor
record
individual
holder,
got injured at the
at
heart of one of the most important races, if not the most important race of his life. And let's continue that story for just a second here. Even though the race is technically over, he has not stopped. He is hobbling towards that finish, towards that goal.
Derek Redmond of Great Britain pulled up with an injury.
And there's a person that shows up right behind him. That person is his father.
In his lane. And now the pain too much.
This one gets me every time because they're telling him that he needs to leave, but he doesn't. It's his son. And I will let you finish watching that video on your own, but he walks his son to the finish line and he's able to complete the race. Sometimes our journeys, sometimes our stories, we fall or we don't. It doesn't turn out the way we imagined. But when we are vulnerable and we share our story, and this sharing a story on the Olympic stage is so beautiful, and it gives all of us that reminder that we can persevere, and we persevere not on our own, but by leaning into the people around us, our tribe of people that can make us more successful and to make our students more successful as well. So when it comes to learning, remember, not only do we want to empower, but we also want to give choice and give voice back to our educators and to our students. And we can do that by gathering feedback, whether it's surveys or qualitative information. We need to seek and elicit feedback. In order for us to be better facilitators of learning, we need to continue to find ways to give voice to our teachers and to our students. And it comes back to time. Again, sometimes you got to give something up. The timing is not always easy to figure out, but we can get creative to foster and facilitate discussion and to create time in a variety of ways. When we think back to what's most important to us on Institute days, on professional learning days, once we decide our values and what is important to us, that's what we can put into action, and we can continue to foster and encourage that collaboration. And so, my friends, as we wrap up today, I hope that you are a little more excited about your next professional learning day. And remember that it is all about telling stories and hearing and listening to the stories of others. So I would love to hear more questions from all of you, and feel free to reach out either synchronously or asynchronously as you go back and you watch this video or you look at the resources. I would also love feedback from you. So as we move forward, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's discussion. I do have a ton of references, and these are some of my favorite books and resources that you are more than welcome to take a look at. I'm going to press end on our slideshow, and I can save this for later. I will push out the resources as well. But let me stop sharing here and pull this back over. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight's conversation. I really enjoyed speaking with you and sharing a little bit about my professional learning story, and I would love to hear your story as well. So feel free to connect and reach out. I'm going to drop the link to the slides just in case you joined us a little bit later. And again, please feel free to reach out. I really hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and I look forward to watching back so many great presentations and resources from all of you. All right, does anyone have any questions? All right, then I am going to close up. It was, again, really nice chatting with you. And if you're watching this asynchronously, don't hesitate to reach out and connect. All right, bye, folks.